Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing the Finally Fall book tag. This is going to be my first time. No, I was not tagged, but if you're like me and you grew up on MySpace and a little bit on Facebook, just because you're not tagged, everybody did a survey. Okay, the little questionnaire thing that you would post that nobody really cared about. I will do any tag that I see, whether anybody wants to see it or not, because I just love to answer questions. Anyway, really excited, so let's just get right into it. I'll put all the information in the description box, obviously. Here we go. Question 1. In fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. I went with The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This whole series, this is a trilogy if you didn't know, was really beautiful. I thought it was really interesting. I definitely started this and couldn't put it down. This is about a woman named Vasya. She lives in, I don't know, Russia? Something like that. Yeah, Russia. The Russian wilderness. This is like a long, long time ago when we still had czars and stuff. And magic still kind of exists, woodland spirits, things of that nature. And but it's slowly dying. Why? Because Christianity is coming. So like the old pagan, would that be the way to say it? We'll just go with pagan. The old pagan ways have kind of started to die away, and it's because people are getting into Christianity. There is a priest who's coming from town to town, and any person who is basically still practicing those old ways of life is, a heretic and a witch. And basically it's a story about Vasya trying to protect her town, her little community from this man, but also there's another man, if you want to call it that, that's trying to help in a way. I don't know why I wanted to say the Night King. No, it's not the Night King. There's a lot going on in here. I'm missing a lot of stuff. It's been a while, but this is a fantastic book. It's definitely a vivid setting. Same thing with the next two books. I think it was beautifully written, and I would absolutely recommend this trilogy, but I had to go with The Bear and the Nightingale. If you haven't read it, please, if you have read it, do you think that's an appropriate answer for the first question? Let me know in the comments. Question 2. Nature is beautiful, but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written, but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. Now, to be fair, I could have probably used The Bear and Nightingale for question 2. I essentially basically said that it was everything that the question asked just now, but I wanted to switch it up and go with something that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about in a while. This book isn't new by any means, but when I read it, I only had seen it recommended by one person, and this is the one that stood out to me when I thought it deals with a heavy topic, and that is The Game of Love and Death by Martha Brockenborough? I'm sorry. I'll read the inside for you guys. It's been a long time since I read this book, and this is a book that I've wanted to come back to because I really enjoyed it. I wonder how I would feel about it now since it's been a few years. I think I read this in like maybe 2016 or 2017, but I still like the subject matter. So Anthony and Cleopatra, Helen of Troy and Paris, Romeo and Juliet, and now Henry and Flora. For centuries, love and death have chosen their players. They have set the rules, rolled the dice, and kept close, ready to influence, angling for supremacy, and death has always won. Always. Could there ever be one time, one place, one pair whose love would truly tip the balance? Meet Flora, an African-American girl who dreams of becoming the next Amelia Earhart by day and sings in a smoky jazz club of Seattle by night. Meet Henry, born a few blocks and a million worlds away, a white boy with a future assured, a wealthy adoptive family in the midst of the Great Depression, a college scholarship, and all the opportunities in the world seemingly available to him. The players have been chosen, the dice have been rolled, but when human beings make moves of their own, what happens next is anyone's guess. Achingly romantic and brilliantly imagined, The Game of Love and Death is a love story you will never forget. So obviously you can tell where this is going when we're talking about a heavy topic. There is a bit of loss, there is a bit of grief. I would recommend it. I'm pretty sure the person I saw talk about this was Reagan from Peru's Project. And if you watched me from the beginning, you know, there wasn't a book that I didn't get that they didn't recommend. Some were great hits. Others were great misses. Some I didn't even read because I realized, Jesus, I know I'm not going to like this after the fact. But I thought this one would fit. If you have ever read this, what did you think? And I would recommend. Let me know if you end up reading this after the fact. Question 3. Fall is back to school season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. So I went with 2 books. The first is Lifting as We Climb, Black Women's Battle for the Ballot Box by Yvette Dion. I'm pretty sure my husband bought me this year. If not, he bought it for me last year. I can't quite remember. But I loved this book. It's very short. But the thing I learned the most from this book is how many other influential Black women were a part of the suffrage movement. I talked about this when I read it in a wrap up. Basically, Yvette Dion introduces quite a few women that most, if not all of us, I've never heard of, that were so important to that. And then the history of the suffrage movement that, again, most of us don't really know, because we know those popular white women who are kind of like the face and the name of it, when in reality there were so many other people, specifically Black women, who played a huge role during that time and were often shut down because they were also trying to pass anti-lynching legislation along with having women get the right to vote. There were so many more activists involved during this time and involved in the feminist movement. And I think that this was a nice short book that can also kind of teach you a little bit about, you know, intersectionality. I mean, part of the reason why there was so much of a hurdle is because the Black women were not only dealing with the sexism, but also the racism. So this is a book that I absolutely recommend. Please, please read this. It was so good, and it's short. You could read this in a weekend. You could probably read this in a day, to be honest, and it's going to introduce you to a lot of really important Black women and information that you probably have never heard of. And the second book I just recently read, Anti-Racist Ally. This is by Sophie Williams. So I saw this randomly walking around in Barnes & Noble in like the social science section. This is like a pocket kind of style book. What's it called? Pocket guide. The thing I like the most about this is the fact that, like, look, there's a big difference between saying I'm not racist versus I'm anti-racist. This little pocket guide gives you a perfect understanding, perfect breakdown of what the difference is, how you can be a better ally, talking about intersectionality. So many good points in little chapters that keep it very clear, concise. You know, if you're having a conversation with someone and you're getting to back and forth, I think that the information that you get in this book is a perfect way to keep it very clear. You know what I mean? So we're not getting dragged down by, I don't know, straw man arguments, so on and so forth. So yes, I would absolutely recommend this one. A lot of this stuff I'm already familiar with, but just because you might be familiar with actively trying to be anti-racist or being intersectional, it doesn't mean that you still shouldn't continue to keep learning, because there's going to be something that you might not know, or something that kind of catches you and checks you on something that, oh, there may be a bias there, because we're not just talking about anti-racism in this. We're also talking about, you know, being ableist, and basically all kind of ties into being intersectional. So with that being said, just recently read this, would absolutely recommend. Another very short nonfiction book that anybody can get into, anybody can read, and I do feel like you will learn a lot. It's something that you could give to a friend or a family member, maybe if you feel like it's a conversation that you can't have with them, or because maybe your emotions are high, which I've had that happen with me before. I've been very passionate and I felt like I couldn't get someone to understand what I was saying, but we talk about tone policing in here. So, There's a lot of subjects in this little guy. So read it, give it to people, recommend it. Go with this one. Question 4, in order to keep warm, it's good to spend time with the people we love. Name a fictional family, household, friend group that you'd like to be a part of. I went with The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. I really loved this series. I have not read the 3rd book yet, but I would absolutely recommend. I love The Gilded Wolves. I think it's a great story of a group of kind of outcast underdogs that come together. They're doing some stealing, some theft, but that's okay. They all have their own perfect little talent that sets them apart, but also brings them together to pull off these, little things that they're doing. But my favorite person in the friend group, which they're not necessarily in this book as a friend, we see it later, but I love Hypnos. I want to be Hypnos' friend so bad. I want to be friends with Layla. But The Gilded Wolves is my choice for this. Question 5. The colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall-colored spines. Yeah, so pretty. So obviously I had to put Gilded Wolves in here. That just kind of fit for question 4 and 5. But I also put Bronzed Beasts. This is the 3rd book in the Gilded Wolves trilogy. Something I have to read. But it seems like the shorter of the 3 books. So that's interesting, exciting. I need to finish it. It's going to get done this year, I promise. Then you have The Priory of the Orange Tree. Let's not talk about it. I said that I wanted to read this several times, but as you can see, she's a thick mama, so we'll see what happens. And then I chose the last book, Unbecoming. This is a memoir I haven't read yet. I've had it on my shelf for a while, so I need to get to it. But yes, these are my colorful fall spines. Question 6. Fall is a perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein somebody is telling a story. So this one I also went with a memoir because I could not think of a fictional book that had to do with somebody telling a story. I went with Francesca Ramsey's Well That Escalated Quickly. I've talked about this before earlier on when I was doing booktube. This is a memoir that I really loved and I want to read again. Francesca Ramsey is one of my favorite people. She's awesome, in my opinion. Memoirs and Mistakes of an Accidental Activist. This was taking place during the time, like right after when she was on Larry Wilmore's show. I loved his show on Comedy Central. Anyway, you've got some really nice blurbs on the back too. I didn't even realize that. She's been blurbed by Issa Rae, John Green. I don't really know anything about him. Janet Mock, Iana Glazer, Van Jones, Jake Tapper. So yeah, I absolutely recommend this book. It's really not that long. But the crazy thing is so much has changed since this memoir with Francesca Ramsey. If you don't follow her, then you won't know. But if you have, and I would love to know if anybody else loves Francesca Ramsey like I do. I mean, so much has changed since this book for her. All positive, and I'm just so happy for her. So this is a memoir I would recommend, as well as the other memoirs I talked about. But yeah, give this one a try. I want to reread this, so we'll see if I can get to it this year. But now that I've pulled it out of the stack, maybe it will be on my TBR for this month. We shall see. Question 7. The nights are getting darker. Share a dark, creepy read. Again, I went with 2. The first one I have read, The Caro Haunt, Darcy Coates. Need I say more? You know. If it's a Darcy Coates book, I'm going to have it. It doesn't matter. I'm going to read it. That's just a fact. But this was my first Darcy Coates book that I really, really enjoyed. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. This was my first Darcy Coates book, period. I really enjoyed it. That's what I meant. Not that I've read several others and I didn't like them. This first one I liked. You get it. This was really good. This was basically about a woman named Remy. She's a tour guide for this haunted house. There is a guy who comes to her latest tour and then wants to do a private tour with her, film, all this other stuff, get into the history of the house. And when they have some people that come along to do this like paranormal activity, set up the camera type situation, crazy shit happens, y'all. And it was really good. I actually had nightmares in a good way. All nightmares aren't bad. And it scared the shit out of me. I really liked it. I would absolutely recommend it. Go for it. The next is a book I haven't read, but I've been meaning to read, and it is very creepy. The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. This is, I didn't know a lot about this when I bought it. I don't know who recommended it. I also could have just been recommended this on Goodreads and just said, you know what, go for it. But after reading the back, it's kind of seeming like it's also going to be like science fiction as well as kind of mystery thriller, not necessarily like a cop mystery thriller, but you know, horror. But I don't think this is going to be too horrifying. Someone I follow just recently talked about this, but I didn't read it because I didn't watch it because I haven't read it yet. And that's just how I am. So The Hollow Places is another book that seems like it would fit question 7. So this is also a book I want to read this month. We'll see what happens. It already feels like we're far into November. I'm not happy about it. I'm tired of the year going by so fast, but I went with this one. Question 8. The days are getting colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up somebody's cold and rainy day. Again, you know I'm going to choose 2. I actually went with manga for this one. The first one was Komi Can't Communicate. This is also an anime that's on Netflix. I've been watching it. It's a weekly one. It's really good. I feel like this is like a very wholesome little manga about Komi, who's like this very, very popular girl who doesn't speak to anyone. So she's a woman of mystery, and everybody just kind of romanticizes her silence, but in reality she has like social anxiety. She really can't speak to people, but she desperately wants to make friends, and that's the whole cute little story behind this. I own like 6 volumes now. I want to keep going because it's just a really sweet, cute series. So I would think this one would be a nice one to read just to brighten your day. And the next one, let's go a little bit spicy for Sweat and Soap. Just recently read this one. This is also a really cute, you know, again, there's a little bit spicy. There's some sexy time in it. But Asako, she is a sweaty madame, and she works at like a soap company in the finance department. Even though she keeps herself, you know, pretty clean, she's a sweater, you know? I feel her pain. I'm a sweaty bitch too. But she's obsessed with the soap that she sells at the soap company. So much so that, you know, she's carrying that shit everywhere. But then this man, the creator of the soap fragrances, gets one whiff of her and is like, I need your body. And then from there, it's like, let's hook up, but is this love? You know, we're going to see where it goes. I've only read the first 2 volumes, but I'm really happy and excited about it. I want to continue the series. So I say these 2, give them a try. Very, very cute, you know, short reads that I think could warm your cold heart. Absolutely. Question 9, fall. Luckily, it's my favorite season. Returns every year. Name an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. I've said this quite a few times. This is a young adult fantasy. Oh man, is this like 6 or 7 books in the series? I can't remember now. But when I tell you, I went through these books so fucking quick. Like, it is I mean this in a good way. This is your typical young adult fantasy. You know, although I do think there's some twists, Morgan Rhodes does not mind killing some people up in here. I still feel like it follows the formula that we're like really used to, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but like I sped through it. There's angsty love, angsty young adult love. There's some magic. There's some deception. There's some even bigger players in this world, you know, fucking with people. And I ate it up. I ate the shit up. So yes, and I say this like every other month, I'm gonna read this again. I'm probably not gonna read it this year, but damn it if I don't want to read it every time I pick it up. Now that it's out from the shelf, maybe I'll put it in the stack of books that I keep saying I want to read. We'll see. But this one, I got to return to Falling Kingdoms. And lastly, 10, fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. I don't really have any cozy reading accessories. The only reading accessory that I recently bought was this little, you know, thumb holder when you have a hardcover book. You put it in so your thumb doesn't hurt. I don't know, I thought this was cute. Let's see if it adjusts. It's like a nice, cute color. I've asked for another one of these, but in a different color for Christmas on my Christmas wish list. I'm excited about it. I've used it once, and it was when I was reading Home Before Dark. And since all, what are they? Book of the Month Club books are all hardcover. Even though, like, I prefer to buy paperback, since they're all hardcover for Book of the Month, I have some books that are kind of thick, you know, and they're hard to snap open. So I've mostly used this on those books. I'm excited. I like it. It's very cute. But yeah, I don't have a lot of bookish accessories. Bookmarks, I don't collect them the way that some people do, like when they get like, you know, the boxes like from, I don't know, Owl Crate or something. I like that people do that, but since I don't get stuff like that has a lot of bookish accessories in it, I don't have a lot. I love the idea of book sleeves, but I haven't bought any. I love the idea of little, I don't know, bookmark charms or whatever. I just haven't bought any. So this is like the most recent. And the other thing I bought was a book light, but that's not cozy anyway, and I haven't even used it yet. So this little number, she's cute, she's useful, and she's pinkish. And if you don't already know, I really like the color pink. So there you have it. And that's it. That is the Finally Fall book tag. If you'd like to do this book tag, please feel free. I will tag anybody who's interested. This is your formal invitation. Please do it. I love to watch it. Are any of these books ones that you're interested in reading? Any that you think, God, Connie, terrible. Why would you ever read that? Or any that you're like, terrible suggestion. Or are you like, yes, I've been meaning to read that. Or, oh my God, I'm gonna put that in my cart immediately. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please like the video. And if you like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Come on, if you haven't already. Let's do it, y'all. But with that being said, y'all have a good day. Goodbye.